So, you all learn how to edit. Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Nick, and I'll be your guide to learning how to edit in DaVinci Resolve 16. When you open DaVinci, you'll first want to start a new project. If this is your first time, tough luck. If this is your first time, you'll be prompted to start a new project. I've already started one so that we could focus on the interface instead. Down at the bottom, you'll see 7 different tabs: Media, Cut, Edit, Fusion, Color, Fairlight, and Deliver. For most projects, you'll typically work from left to right on these tabs, but I like to start on Edit since it can do most of the things that Media and Cut can. To get started, you'll need something to work with. You can import media in a number of different ways. The simplest is simply dragging and dropping files from your file browser into DaVinci. You can also press Ctrl-I on your keyboard, or right-click the media pool and select Import Media to open your file browser and find the media that you want to import. It is important to note that DaVinci is not a recording software, so you will need something else to record video and audio with. Personally, I recommend OBS Studios. It's free and it's pretty simple to use, so give it a shot. Hey, Future Nick here. I realized while editing that I never even mentioned saving your work. DaVinci is a computer program, meaning it can and will crash. Nothing is more frustrating than losing progress, so make sure you save often. To do that, click File in the top left corner and Save As, or simply press Ctrl-S on your keyboard. Alright, back to the video. Once you've gotten your media imported, you'll want to drag it down here to what's called the timeline. The timeline is where you'll do most of your editing. By clicking here, or pressing the A key on your keyboard, you can enter Select Mode. Select Mode allows you to click and move different pieces of media as you see fit on the timeline. You can select multiple pieces at once by holding Ctrl, or only one specific piece by holding Alt. When multiple pieces of media are selected, any changes applied to one are applied to all of them. If you press Ctrl-L on your keyboard while you have multiple pieces of media selected, the files become linked. Linked files act as if they are all selected together when one is selected. When moving selected clips, you can move them onto different levels of the timeline as well. Videos moved on top of other videos will override them and be the only things playing on the screen, but audio will play at the same time, so keep that in mind. You don't want too many voices talking at once. Pressing this button here, or B on your keyboard, enters Break Mode. Break Mode allows you to make cuts by clicking anywhere on the timeline. Clicking anywhere inserts a cut, splitting the media at that point. Once the video or audio is broken up, you're free to move them around separately with Select Mode. Pressing N can enable or disable snapping. Snapping is when the cursor automatically jumps to a specific point in the video, such as the end or beginning point of a video or audio file. Disabling snapping is useful for making more precise cuts in media, where enabling it is more useful if you want to line up the endings or beginnings of certain files. On the top left, you can access the Effects library. The Effects library allows you to add simple special effects to your video by simply dragging and dropping them onto the timeline. More complex effects can be made in the Fusions tab, but we'll get to that later. Transitions must be dropped on a break between 2 clips. If a transition is extended in either direction, it will automatically extend in the opposite direction as well. Simple text effects can be dropped anywhere and can be edited like this in the top right corner. You can extend or compact them as you see fit for your video. More complex text effects are also available, featuring a number of basic animations. For simple fade effects, you can click the top left or right corners of whatever you want to fade in or out. The number here shows you the duration of the fade. This works for both audio and video, so give it a shot. Hi, me again. I didn't mention that with audio, there's actually 2 types of fade effects. You can do the classic consistent fade, which fades at a constant rate, like this. There's also what I call the exponential fade. By moving this circle here, you can change the curvature of the fade, giving you sounds like this. While it may not be necessary, it is nice to have. Alright, back to the video. One of the most important things to know about effects are keyframes. Keyframes are essentially bookmarks in the animation of a video. For example, let's say I want this piece of text to move from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen. This means that my starting point will be the right side, and my ending point will be the left side. All you need to do is move to where in the video you want the animation to start. Then move the text to where you want it to actually start the animation at. Once you've got the location set, click this little red diamond next to where the location is. Then, move forward in the video to where you want the endpoint to be, and move the text to the endpoint as well. By now, the red diamond at the endpoint should automatically take itself on. When you play back the video, the text should automatically move itself from the start point to the end point within the given time frame. This effect can be applied to many things, including size, rotation, and color, as well as location. When deleting files on the timeline, there are two ways to go about it. Simply pressing backspace while selecting a clip on the timeline will remove it from the timeline. However, if you were to hold shift while you press backspace, this would remove both the clip and the gap that it would leave after it was gone. This is known as ripple deleting. There's also a number of options found by right-clicking media. For example, you could change the speed and the duration of a clip. When changing the speed of a clip, you'll see an option for ripple sequence. Ripple sequence will change the duration as well as the clip's speed, meaning that if you were to play the clip at 2 times speed, it would end up being half as long. If not ticked on, and you apply the speed change to a cut video, then the video will add more of the remaining video that was cut off in order to keep the same duration. Next we have the Fusion tab. The Fusion tab is like the effects library, only you're in more control than you were before. This bar right here gives you a number of effects you could add manually to a clip by simply dragging and dropping them down. While the Fusion tab is pretty complex and has lots of potential, you most likely won't need it for what you'll be doing. Next we have the Color and Fairlight tabs. Color, as you may have guessed, is mainly used for color correction on videos. Since much of your videos will be comprised of images put together, you most likely won't be needing this. Fairlight is used for audio. Hopefully you have a good enough mic that you won't need to use this. I personally have not had to touch this at all. Hey again, Future Nick. While you probably won't need to do any real audio work, you may need volume control. There are 2 ways of doing this. You can change the volume of a specific audio clip by dragging up or down from its center. If you want to change a whole layer of clips, then you can open up the mixer at the top right and mess around with that. Alright, that's it, take it away. Finally, we've arrived at the Deliver tab. The Deliver tab is what you use to export your video when you finally finished it. There are all sorts of options to export the video. The file type you want tends to be up to preference and what you need for the video. Quality and accessibility are both important things to consider. Once you've chosen a file type, simply give it a good name, set the file location, and you're good to go. Now behold the power of editing!